The Business of Green with Ray White in association with Discovery Green.
Hello, I'm Ray White. This is the Business of Green. We've been talking about solar, we've been talking about wind, green hydrogen over the past couple of weeks. Now, looking at the business aspect of it. What happens in 5 years' time when you need to change out your equipment? Because unfortunately, equipment only lasts for a certain amount of time. So what is your financial layout? Well, over the next couple of weeks, looking at the business of green. Talking about retail and office parks, and many have now turned to renewable energy to make sure they're using the rays from the sun. But there's so many questions that go with this, including 5 years down the line, is it going to cost a lot of money to replace equipment that has failed or has aged? Looking now at exactly what goes into utilizing the sun, but also looking at your bottom line.
There are various models, including the Power Purchase Agreements, or PPA, where a third party installs and owns the system while the office park buys electricity at a reduced rate. Then there is the CapEx model, where the property owner purchases the system directly, often benefiting from tax incentives such as the Section 12B allowance for immediate tax deductions. And then there's the rent-to-own system, a hybrid model allowing for ultimate ownership without initial capital outlay. Looking now at a real estate company that has chosen one of the green finance models. Fortress Real Estate Investments specializes in logistics properties, retail centers, and office blocks. Head of Sustainability at Fortress, PC Potgieter, says they decided to go green a while back.
That is correct. So the whole green is multifaceted. There's an element of resilience that we're bringing into our buildings by increasing the energy mix of a building. So obviously it's a cost saving, which increase your profit on a building. There's the carbon saving element that talks to the environmental side of it. So it's a mixture of the three. So obviously green, we know the issues that we have got in South Africa with supply of energy, and I think who better than private sector to come to the party and help out. And certainly on the renewable energy front, there's been a huge opportunity for property companies, because we sit with a large number of buildings. Hopefully your vacancy is low, so you've got a good occupation level, which means you consume energy. And what better way of supplying energy than to embed energy on site? It's free, the sun is shining, there's obviously the finance cost, but it's pretty free. It helps out because we're less reliant on Eskom. I mean, obviously the other thing, when Eskom goes down, the renewable energy must shut down as well, but hopefully by adding the renewable energy to the mix, you reduce the stress on the Eskom grid, and it helps with that. Yeah, so it's all three. It's the environmental side, it's the cost side, and I think we shouldn't forget about the social side. It's a huge job creation sector in South Africa. It's a sector that 10, 15 years ago didn't exist. So plenty of permanent jobs have been created, not only through the construction, but also in the maintenance and the management thereafter. So I think it's a well-rounded economical investment in the country, helping out environmentally on carbon, helping out Eskom supplying energy, and on the social side creating jobs.
Yeah. What are the time frames with all of this, the rollout? Because you've been going for quite a while now. Take us through that.
Yeah, so we started doing solar back in 2018. I think at the end of 2019 we had 4 projects. I think then we went from 4 to 7 to 10, and then we really took off. At the end of 2023 we had 25 projects, and we generated 5% of our own consumption. So 5% of the total electricity consumption in Fortress came from renewable power. where that was June 2023. June 2026, the aim is to have 120 plants, so up from 20 plants 3 years ago. And we will generate close to 23-24% of our own electricity. So it's been a huge increase in our own rollout, going from 2 or 3 projects a year, whereas I think 2023 we had 25 projects, 24 we had 59, 25 we had 96, and 26 we'll have 120 plants. So a huge effort from, I work with 2 other guys, Siem and Pasquale, so it's been a huge effort from the 2 of them as well to get us to a point where, 120 buildings in South Africa having solar, and we've got a portfolio of 180, so it's almost 2/3 of the portfolio that's got embedded solar energy on site.
Then, of course, there's the cost and the layouts. I mean, that's a lot. I would think you need to make sure that you actually make a profit at the end of the day.
Correct, right. We disclose that investment in our presentations, and to December of 2025, we spent 557 million rands on solar. So it's not a small investment, but the returns are good. The paybacks are shortish, 5 years and less. And it's been driven largely, look, the financial case between Weskus Mall, which we did, Weskus Mall opened in September 2019. If I look at the cost of installing that system to what the cost is installing a system today, it's hugely different because the cost has reduced. Solar panels have become cheaper over time. Inverters have become cheaper, and electricity is obviously hugely more expensive. So not only has the cost come down, but your returns have increased because of the energy increases. What we're seeing in the market in the last years is prices have flattened out, but prices are going up now again on solar panels and inverters between 6 and 10% because of a shortage of copper. But then during COVID, there was an interesting period in time where the cost of solar also increased because of the shipping cost. So panels were still cheap, but COVID disrupted shipping lanes all over the world. Containers were in the wrong place, and the container prices increased. And then if it's not that, then the next thing will be the rand that blows out against the dollar, then that increases the prices. But generally speaking, it came down dramatically. It's bottomed out, but I think I don't think it can be much cheaper than what it is now. Like I said, to the contrary, we're actually seeing price increases coming back because of mineral resources shortages.
And then, of course, there are carbon taxes, but there are also incentives. So if you're down on your carbon taxes and the government is throwing incentives at you, that surely makes good sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, so firstly, in terms of carbon tax, a real estate investment company like ourselves, we don't pay carbon tax. So we're not an emitter as classified by the regulations and the carbon law. We do need to submit our carbon tax returns to SARS, and our liability is on emissions from generators that we run during power outages, but because the diesel is already taxed, it's not double taxed, but so it's in and out. So we don't pay carbon tax, but one of the main benefits of the solar is on your carbon footprint, because obviously every kilowatt hour or megawatt hour that you generate from solar reduces your carbon footprint. So we've seen a nice reduction in that. I mean, Fortress in South Africa, we've reduced our carbon footprint. So we took 2018 as a baseline, and to June 2025, we've reduced our carbon footprint by 34% compared to the 2018 baseline. Wow. And it's largely due to the solar rollout, because we injecting renewable energy into the portfolio. So yeah, so we've made a huge dent in our carbon footprint that which we are all very, very proud of, and it's on the back of this, like I said, 557 million rand investment in solar.
What is the ease of doing this all? I mean, what's the rollout? How easy is it to get your network going?
Oh, yes, like Ray, we've learned so many lessons on that over the last few years. It all starts with knowing the consumption profile of the property. Now, you can use municipal bills if on the assumption that municipality or the Eskom is billing you correctly, and there's a true reflection of the consumption profile. But it starts with knowing your building. So we've just on that, over the last 2 years, we've rolled out about 2,900 smart meters because we realized that how valuable the data is. Solar plants are still very forgiving, but when you want to do batteries, you need to have a proper consumption profile, so you need the data. But back to solar though, starting with knowing your consumption profile, making sure that you've got that right, knowing the tariff that you're being charged at this asset, because that determines your returns. And then when we started way back in 2018, we used consultants because nobody quite knew, solar was new, so we worked with a couple of consultancies in Johannesburg and Polokwane to come up with a adjudication model, because how do you adjudicate solar? Because is it the guy that gives me the most energy that's the best tender? Is the guy that asks me the least amount for the capital investment? So we worked up a big model where ultimately we came to the conclusion it's a financial decision. So we go on IRR or LCOE, the levelized cost of energy. So you need to know the load, the tariff, you need to have a good adjudication model. And when we started, we relied a lot on the consulting engineers. At the time as well, there was not that many EPCs, energy procurement contractors in the market. So we did a lot of work on finding the best guys in the market. And I'm actually glad to say that the guys that we identified way back in 2018, we're still doing business with them. We did something right, I guess, by getting the best companies in the market. So it's not. Then you've got a contractor, you've got a consultant engineer. The designing of the system is actually very important, because a lot of inefficiencies. Because now we're talking small margins, but your design. So you need to have either a consulting or engineer or a contractor that's really proficient in the design. Following the design, it needs to be executed on site, so construction oversight experience. And then it's the management thereafter. A solar installation is mechanical and electrical equipment, it's plant, it's not set and forget. So, and I think there maybe issues, some people say, oh, solar don't work, but if you don't manage these plants, if you don't maintain it and spend the money on the maintenance, then it is going to fall over. And then also the monitoring thereof. Don't rely on a third party. Have your own eyes on the system. It's ultimately your investment, your responsibility, and we're spending a lot of time on the management of these plants currently.
The business of green, it's been all about finding an economical way to take what we have from the sun, take the wind, and make sure this interprets into your bottom line. But what does this mean for the hotel industry? You've got to make sure that there's this massive outlay. It's going to cost you a lot of money. But when will you see the benefits of green, and how exactly does this work for your bottom line?
In association with Discovery Green.